We are live. I love when it tells me that. It is very clear and there's no confusion. So, good morning, Dennis. It's so great to have you join my little show here.
Well, good morning, Lucy, and I'm excited to be here and thank you for having me today.
This is my new little favorite pet project, my little morning talk show. So, for those who don't know, you and I go way back, so I know all the good things about you. But for those who don't know, give us a little intro. Who are you, and what are you doing these days?
Sure. Again, my name is Dennis Garcia. I'm the Vice President and General Counsel for Litera. For those of you who may not be familiar with Litera, we offer a wide range of legal solutions to law firms and also corporate legal departments. I've been VP and General Counsel for Litera for the past 4.5 months or so. Before that, I spent over 20 years in the Microsoft legal department and in different roles, although primarily supporting the Microsoft Americas sales, services, and marketing team. Before that, I worked in-house for Accenture. And then before that, I started my legal career back in the day directly from law school. I joined IBM. So I have a sort of a unique distinction in that I have spent my entire legal career in-house. I've never worked for a law firm. Of course, I've partnered with lots of law firms during my time, but I've been privileged to work with 4 terrific technology companies in my time.
Wow. That is quite a resume, my friend. I honestly, I forgot kind of all those others. Everything starts and ends with Microsoft in our world, as you know. But IBM and Accenture are also equally, intense, meaning they become a little bit of like, I don't know, defining who you are. I know I certainly associate so much with that kind of in-house job that it's hard to separate yourself from that. So you've taken a leap now from in-house big company, in-house big company, and now 4 months in to a completely different role. Tell us a little bit about the difference between kind of big corporate life and kind of a more, I don't want to call it scrappy, but maybe it is, right? Maybe a smaller, faster moving company, I would imagine. What's the difference? What's it like?
Yeah, there is certainly definitely differences. Litera has about 1,000 or so employees in it. Our legal team is small and mighty. We are 6 of us, of course, very different than the Microsoft legal department, very different than the number of employees that Microsoft has. We're also a private company. We're owned by a great private equity firm called HG, who's based in London. And so what I've seen so far in my 4.5 months is there's not much bureaucracy, right, in Litera. I feel like I could, of course, connect very quickly with our CEO, with our CFO, and other senior leaders. And what I like about that is that we can make decisions with speed and agility. And that's sometimes a little bit different than a larger company where there could be, more bureaucracy. I feel like in the 4.5 months that I've been at Litera, that my team and I have really provided some really strong legal and business impact. Although I've only been there for a short period of time, so I feel like the work which we're doing is really showing up and helping to advance Litera and helping to be true business enablers. And I like that. I think sometimes with a large company and a large legal department, in-house lawyers can get lost, if you will. At Litera, we certainly cannot get lost, right? We're an important part of what we're doing here to serve our legal customers. And I also like the fact that we're also being advocates of our solutions, of our legal solutions to our customers. So we're increasingly using Litera's legal solutions, and I'm provided the position to serve as an advocate and evangelist for our solutions. And so I and my team work very closely with our sales folks, and we're trying to evangelize, our solutions and how we're using it in the Litera legal department, and hopefully get them comfortable with using our solutions as well. So I feel like lots of differences. What I love about the role, though, is I cannot get lost. The work which we're doing is really, helping Litera move forward
Yeah.
and enabling the business. And I really like being in that sort of
I love
function
that.
where you're really needed, if you will, right?
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
see the
No,
output.
I love that, the business enabler. I mean, we've talked for years about like you got to be part of the business, like lawyering for the sake of lawyering. Don't go in house if that's what you like to do. With all due respect to my law firm buddies, right? You really, we don't have the luxury of thinking about the deep philosophical impacts of legal principles and theory. I mean, we got to be there to get that deal done. I mean, you were a deal lawyer at Microsoft first and foremost, right? In my mind, it's like you're there, you're with sales for every tough journey. And like you said, if more than anything, I would imagine now at a smaller company, yeah, you can't. There's no like sitting and doing NDAs quietly to your heart's content. I mean, you are, I'm guessing, neck deep in lots of the wheeling and dealing. And there's something really interesting, that you said, you know a thing or two about eating dog food, right? You spend enough time at tech companies where we have all, God, choked on the dog food, and now you're like, it feels like you're doubling down on it because it's the legal, it's the legal space. But let's talk about one particular favorite legal space of mine, and I know yours, and that's contracts. That's not, of course, all you do all day, but it's still a big part, I think, from what you mentioned before we went live. And you just went through a little journey of picking a system. You don't have to name names. We don't name names. It's not about that. But you just live the life of that law department leader that has to implement a system. Tell us about lessons learned, tips and tricks, and you're still new into it. When did you guys go live with your system?
Actually, we started early in last month, early in December.
Okay, so super fresh, wonderful. Just in time for the holiday gift giving season.
Right.
Very nice. How'd it go? How are things? Yeah, tell us
I mean,
what we
so
learned.
far it's going really well. During my days at Microsoft, I wasn't really actively involved in helping to select a matter management system or a contract management system. So this was a sort of a newer skill for me. So my team and I, the first thing we did is we looked at our legacy system, which was a good, fine system. But after evaluating our legacy system, we felt like it wasn't going to set us up for success moving forward. It was somewhat limited in scope. It was also a little pricey too. And so we started evaluating other platforms. We brought in different platforms to take a look at, went through a demonstration process. We connected with our team to figure out what is, some of the more important attributes which we wanted from a system. One was, ease of use. We wanted to be getting as much value as we can, for the price of the solution. So we had a number of different considerations, and we took our time and trying to be deliberate, as to which one we decided to choose on. And we went through, I thought, a very thoughtful process, and we selected a provider late in November, went live with it in December. My team and I have been trained on the system by the provider. They've done a very nice job onboarding us, and we've all been actively participating in that onboarding process. I've been using the tool every day. I think as leaders, if you're going to institute a new matter or contract management or CLM platform, as the leader of a team, you have to also make sure that you're using it and serve as that role model. So I have a number of matters in that system, which are open, and some which I have to, of course, close out. But it's working really well with us. There's a Salesforce integration piece of it as well. So we're going to also enable our sales folks, business folks, to initiate matters within our system so that we don't have to do it, and they sort of do it, and then it's sort of done, and then we follow through on that matter. Mm-hmm. So far it's going well. I guess my lessons learned is, slow down, take your time, evaluate a number of providers, find out from them who are their customers, if they have customer references, check up on those references, ask if you could perhaps speak to those customers to understand their journey. And as we know, it's a highly competitive market in the CLM space. So, really be deliberate, take your time. And I also had the good fortune of connecting with other senior lawyers and general counsels as part of my network to understand what they were using and some of their sort of lessons learned as part of their processes too. So it's been a great journey, and we've gotten off to a strong start.
That's great. That's amazing. I love tracking the success stories. They're a little hard to come by. I'll be honest. When you lift the hood and actually ask the question. So this is fantastic. Couple of things you mentioned that I want to just dig in a little bit for those who are going to be watching for tips and tricks and real life practical advice. Certainly, everybody gets enough fluffy guidance, but you mentioned, matter management and contract management, and you kind of keep mentioning the two together. I'd love to know which aspects of that contracting life cycle are you automating? Is it the intake? Is it the workflow? Is it the review? Is it post-signature extraction? All of the above? Or tell me kind of what are the bigger pain points or feature sets you were looking for, to solve?
Yeah, right now we're sort of keeping it pretty basic. So it's the initial matter intake, which we're focused on capturing that matter, and then the legal team sort of closing out that matter. If it's a contract, then capturing that contract and making sure it's put into our contract repository, with our provider. It's also taking our legacy contracts that we had with another provider and then porting them over, which our current provider is helping us do, and sort of tagging those contracts. We've created various different contracting fields and categories, right, of contracts, and they're helping us go right now through that tagging system. So it's porting what we have currently into a newer system, and then developing a process, working with our business clients, that when we sign new contracts, to make sure that they're added into the system in a very thoughtful way. So I think we're doing a good job and getting off to a good start, but we're keeping it pretty basic. It's not getting so involved in terms of getting official approvers, I guess, on contracts, either from the legal side or from the business side. We kept it pretty straightforward and pretty basic. We didn't want to bite off too much, if you will. We wanted to get, I think, sort of the bare bones, with a good system, which we would feel comfortable.
I love that. But I think that is one of the most important things anybody can walk away with. Please, everybody, have a scoped first phase, whatever that is. I always say you can go broad across the life cycle with one type of contract. You can go workflow, focus on just the routing and intake of all types of contracts. You can dig in deep into like review of contracts, but that phase is very different. I mean, there's so many ways to slice and dice an implementation, and yet we still see too many going for that big bang approach of, I want all contracts fully automated from day one, buy side, sales side, everything. I'm sorry. We're the first, one of my team members, we're like a perpetual rain cloud. I know we're always having to say, no, don't do that. Let us help, think about how do you do this in a more phased approach so you can have the sense that you're having, which hey, so far, so good. That's a beautiful testament to an implementation journey, I would say. So far, so good. And it's going to keep going and evolving. And you're going to add on bells and whistles, I'm sure. I think that's such a simple and important reflection on why you are having a good implementation experience. We think too many go too broad, too fast. That's what I'm thinking.
I think you're absolutely right. And, one thing which we've, when we set this up, I was trying to take the mindset of, okay, when I leave Litera at some point in time, when there's a new general counsel coming in, how to set that person up for success so that him or her could take a look at, our repository and all the contracts which are there, and also the matters, and get sort of a good perspective as to the work which we have been working on for a period of time, so they could sort of step into the role and sort of hit the ground running. So I was trying to take this mindset of how do we set up for success, Litera in the future, our legal team, and any successors, who become general counsels in the future.
Yeah, no, I love that. Another really good point there. I'm going to kind of extract from that is this concept of really having for legacy purposes, right? For longevity, you need to be able to also document these processes. So the system has to work in a way that's, of course, useful to extract the information that you want other other people in the organization to be able to use, but also just this whole like how it works in the system. And it can't all live in anybody's head. We all know those people. They're like, oh my God, Susie knows everything. She knows every contract. She knows how to store. She knows how to use the system. Even that's already a terrible sign of the system. If there's only like one human being who knows how to actually make it work, because that means there is way too many hoops and loops to jump through. So the other, I would say, thing that you are highlighting, and I'm going to just put a real fine point to it, is, operationally, please document things. Like document during this implementation process. Don't just try to remember, oh yeah, that button and that thing, and then I click that. Okay, right? We want somebody to have an operating guide, basically, that comes out during this implementation process, so that you can then hand it off to anybody else, and you can win the lottery and go off to move to your island and not worry that nobody else knows how this thing works.
Yeah.
So I love
absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's switch gears a little bit, and we're going to double down into the only topic that is on every single feed of everybody's everything, including conversations at dinner tables with grandparents and kids, and neighbors, and that is that two-letter monster. So tell me what you're thinking is happening with AI in the legal profession, and then we'll talk AI in contracts. Tell me, Dennis Garcia on AI. Go.
Well, I mean, it's a lot going on in every industry, not just legal industry, when it comes to artificial intelligence. I think the key thing for lawyers and legal professionals is how to view AI as a friend of yours, as a tool which can help you be more productive. And for me, what that means is, as we know as lawyers, especially as in-house lawyers, and I've seen this in my role as general counsel, there are times I'm doing some work and tasks which are repetitive, which could be mundane, which could be, boring at times. And how do we see if we could use AI tools to be able to do part or some of those tasks, so that it could free up time for us to do more important or mission critical work for our clients. So the way I look at AI is, how do we use AI tools, whether it's Microsoft Copilot as an example, or some of the tools which we have as part of the new matter management contract provider implementation, which are AI focused. How do we use them to get out of some of that busy work and to enable us to move with more speed and to free us up to do more important work? And we're also we're in the process of putting together a what we call a legal helper chat bot, if you will,
Yay.
interact with our business clients and be sort of a proverbial legal front door to our business clients at Litera, who they can engage with and serve as sort of a digital concierge to help our clients get access to some of the self-help resources we've created, or to let's just say if one of our business clients wants to find out, well, what contract do we have in place with a particular law firm, that bot should be able to go through our contract and management provider platform and to pull out that contract without us having to go in there and retrieve it, right? Just simple, basic things of that nature. So we're trying to figure out how to empower our legal helper AI tool to do those things, to free up us time for us to do more important work. And like anything else, it's a journey. As we're thinking about more agentic AI and having agents who sort of work side by side with us to help serve our clients. But I'm very excited about the potential, and the practicality applications for artificial intelligence. I think there's a lot of great potential. I think every legal department, and also law firm lawyers too, need to figure out how can it serve them, how can it make their lives easier. And when I think of freeing up time, not just more time to do more important work for their clients, but quite frankly, giving back more time for them in their day to do the things they want to do from a wellness perspective, or to spend more time with their family. Because as we know, as lawyers, we probably all work a little bit too hard. And if we could use these tools to save us time, to give us back time in our lives, to me, that's monumental.
Yeah, I love that. I love that angle on it. To be honest, we are always talking about AI now to make us more efficient in our day jobs. And absolutely, that is an imperative, and it's already happening. And if people haven't started using it, they need to, period. And there's no other way around it. You have to start somewhere. But I love this perspective of, hey, it doesn't mean you need to use it for your core, brainiest, toughest work. Use it to help summarize that super long email or help you prep for a meeting by just giving you some talking points and highlights. I think those are kind of almost underutilized still. And it's a fantastic place to start. Talk about, busy work and times where you're like, God, I'm going to do this on the couch in the evening while I'm hanging out with my family because I don't need that much brain time, but I need to get it done. And that's a great way to free up time. Right? You just use it as that assistant and helper. So when it comes to contracting specifically, I am curious. So you mentioned obviously you're automating the workflow, and I always think of contracting technology in kind of three core buckets. I think of it as automating the workflow, the intake, and the where does it go next, and how does it land in the right repository, and that's kind of core tech to what we think of life cycle management, of contracts. Then there's this bucket of, let's call it post-execution data extraction. Find the terms, obligation tracking, what's coming up for renewal, ping reminder, ping that, kind of understanding the data that exists inside the contracts post-signature. Let's call them, those are stored contracts that you have to sometimes look through for good and bad and audit purposes and whatever. And then there's this middle bucket, which is really that live time contract review. These aren't dead contracts that are long signed and buried somewhere. This is it's coming in, I need to review it. That's really arguably the highest use and value that attorneys bring to their day job. It is not the administrative workflow. It is not the hunting and pecking, although it is analysis perhaps. But that middle part, contract review automation, which has been around, by the way, kind of a subcategory that some companies tried to create almost 10 years ago that didn't quite take off because lawyers weren't ready. And now I think lawyers are more ready. The AI is certainly there. Are you exploring that aspect yet of the contracting lifecycle? Is that on the radar? Do you already do that? How do you think about automating review, the actual?
I will say we're starting to do that. And so our first step is, of course, looking at the standard contracts we put in place with our customers, whether it's NDAs, our master customer terms. And so what we've done so far with our NDA, and we just shortened our NDA and made it crisper, if you will. And then we created a NDA playbook. So when we set up our new legal helper bot, that legal helper bot should be able to help our clients walk through proposed deviations from a customer of our NDA and to say, well, if they want to take out this provision, here's a fallback. So we're in the midst of automating and empowering our bot to be able to educate our clients as to suitable fallbacks, in our provisions in our NDA. And then we're also planning on doing something similarly with our master terms, basically. And we've got a effort underway to refresh our master customer agreement terms, and then also creating a playbook there. So that's something which we want to be able to do as well. So we want to use AI as an assistant to help our clients sort of navigate through our routine sort of fallbacks, or maybe providing them with talking points as to how they can articulate our provisions to a customer. And then that can then hopefully save time from our day, and it's empowering our business clients. And then from a post-contract perspective, with our new contract and matter management tool, there are AI functions which are going to help us identify maybe some more negotiated, maybe non-standard provisions we've agreed to in the past. And we can get a perspective on that, and then to find out, do we want to leverage those terms in the future for other deals when similar issues come up, or maybe we want to use variations of those terms. So that's going to help us inform us basically as to, sort of our future contracting needs. And we've also been using AI to help us from a risk mitigation perspective. So, using Microsoft Copilot to say, all right, let's say we've agreed to a particular provision which can pose more risk from a Litera perspective. What are the things that you think we should be doing to sort of mitigate that risk? And then an AI tool like Copilot can give us some thoughts on there, and then we could share that with our clients too, right? From a contract operational implementation perspective. So we're looking at it on all different fronts. I use AI tools like Copilot to help me with my drafting, quite frankly. There are times where I may be stuck on a provision and I'm not sure of how it should be redrafted. Copilot just as a sounding board, if you will. Here's my provision. What do you think of it? How could you make it, easily understood or more, less legalistic, but more sort of business person centric, right? And so I think in those applications, it could be used, really well.
I love it. That's such a great pragmatic tip again for those companies or those lawyers who are in-house and they have a corporate enterprise license to whatever, to OpenAI, or to Copilot, or to whatever it is. Just start there. Just start using it. Definitely the tip is don't use the free stuff. I mean, you don't want the free version. Don't upload anything in there. But once you have an enterprise license, it's a fantastic place to start. And I think the last topic I'm going to cover, we've got a couple of minutes, but I do want to hear your thoughts on, you mentioned now using Copilot a couple of times. I'm a big fan. That's the one license that we do have in my little business as well. It's in my veins, I'm still running through yours. But what about these legal specific, the LLMs, the legal specific tools that are trained on top of the LLMs? I mean, we're hearing a lot of, I'm going to call them like your legal generalists. So let's say we have the generalists, which are Copilot, Perplexity, Gemini, blah, blah. And then on top of that, now we, of course, have the Harveys, the Lagoras, maybe GCAI is a very specific one. I mean, I'm going to call them generalists for legal. Where and how, what are your thoughts? Because you mentioned also creating a playbook, and there's so much right now happening with, AI generating a playbook for legal teams who don't have the time, energy, or resources to do it themselves. Tell me where you think we are in this kind of like, are the generalists going to become good enough for the legal domain? Do we all need to double down on just the legal specific ones? And I don't know, we're in this evolution that I feel like is at a little bit of a tipping point, but tell me about it. You're using Copilot to help you with some of your legal work.
Yeah, I'm using Copilot, and of course, being a former Microsoft lawyer, I've sort of grew up in using Copilot for the last 2 or 3 years, and I think it's gotten better over a period of time. I think sometimes it gets some negative publicity, which isn't really warranted. I think it's getting better. It's not sort of legal specific, if you will, but it's still general enough, I think, to give you some of the basics. Now, I think the Copilots and more the general Gen AI tools will get better over a period of time. There's a number of legal specific solutions out there. Our company at Litera, we have a solution known as Lito, Lito, which is more legal centric. I also use Lito, and I've had some really good outcomes in using Lito. We provide it for free to our existing customers to use. The thing which I like about Lito is I do think it's true agentic AI in that it's not just providing you with an output, but then it's providing you with an output and then suggesting what should you do next with that output, or have you thought about like risk mitigation, for instance, or here, let me put together an email for you for your client, or have you thought about some of the newer changes in data protection law for certain geographies. It's sort of like it's prompting you to take the next step to do more. And to me, again, I'm biased being the Litera lawyer, but I mean, Lito sort of is kind of like helping you think ahead, basically, as to once this output is provided to you, what can you do with that output to provide even more high value client service to your clients? And so from my perspective, as a lawyer, if you're evaluating these different specific legal AI tools, say to yourself, are these tools allowing you to take the next step to serve your clients? Or is it just sort of an AI wrapper, if you will? I think you want, solutions which will help you take on the next step and better serve your clients and earn their trust.
I love that. What a great point to end on, taking that next step. I think that is a fantastic kind of test for how useful is AI for you. Does it just kind of help you keep spinning, or is it enabling you to move faster and to take that next step? It's only going to get better. Do we agree? It's only going to get smarter, faster. and fast. It's going to happen fast. I like what you also said about, whether it's Copilot or whatever else, it's easy to kind of poo-poo the systems, right? It's always easy to poo-poo on tech. Let's be honest, that is so easy to do, and yet really it takes a little time to extract the value from all the tech, and AI is no different. It's just moving even faster. So thank you so much, Dennis. With that, we're right on time. We are punctual people. I appreciate it so much for taking a half an hour on this Friday. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a fantastic weekend. And thanks to everybody who joined us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Lucy. Thanks, everyone.